even if there's a blurry camera. I look better when it's blurry anyway.
It's like a filter, beauty filter.
All right, we ready? Good evening and welcome to our second October meeting. I hope everybody is having a good month, and we thank you for joining us today, both in here and those that happen to be joining us online. We always like to begin our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, and our Vice Commander of the American Legion is here to lead us this evening. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. At this time, we'll ask that you join us in a moment of silence. This can be used for silent prayer, silent reflection to prepare for the meeting, or however you choose to use the time. Okay, Council, you all have minutes from our October 13th meeting, which included a special work session prior to the meeting with New River Community Action, so there's some pretty detailed notes on that. Is there a motion that we accept the minutes as submitted, or do we have any changes to make?
Move to accept.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. At this time, we'll open the floor for citizen comments on public matters. If you have something you'd like to share with us, we'll ask that you come to the podium. Please be sure to adjust the microphone, speak into the microphone and use it. State your name for the record, and keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. The floor is now open. And are you all able to adjust the clock up here, or do I just need to run it? Okay. We'll go old school then.
Good evening. My name is Regina Meredith. My sister and I own property on West Rock Road. My dad purchased this property in 1962 when it was part of Montgomery County, but later it was annexed by Radford City. At that time, there was our house and one other home that was later purchased by VDOT and torn down when road improvements were made. Over the years, the growth in this portion of Rock Road has included New River Overlook Apartments, the Inglewood subdivision, Moog Aspen Motion Technologies, which is now vacant, and most recently, Gloria Villas. There are currently 5 single-family homes sandwiched between these properties, and a 6th house is being built just feet from the Inglewood subdivision. With each new addition to this section of Rock Road, we have asked to be connected to city water, only to hear that it is too expensive and if that ever changes, we will be notified. The 6th home that is being built just feet away from the Inglewood subdivision has already been denied access to city water and will be another home that will need to drill a well. During the time between 2023 and 2025, the real estate taxes that I pay yearly have increased by approximately $375. This is the greatest increase we have seen, I believe, since acquiring the property. We believe the city should do and could do a better job of taking care of this need, especially with the growth that has happened. It is something that I will continue to address in the next months. I ask that a close look at this concern be taken to determine how the city can better serve this section of residents. Thank you.
Thank you for coming out, Ms. Meredith, and I can tell you it probably is worth a look. Todd, would you and your team mind taking a look at what it would cost to connect any or all of those properties to city water? And I'm sure that's a pretty big project. So if you don't mind getting back to us at some point and to share with Ms. Meredith. And if you want to share your information so that we can get you that information, that would be fantastic. Are there any other folks who have citizen comments that they would like to share with the public? Okay, come on down.
Did you set the clock for?
I've got it right here.
You
So
have
you'll
it,
just,
okay.
you want me to give you the high sign when you have 30 seconds left?
Take me 3 minutes, but
Okay, here you go.
time you had a clock. So.
Right.
Okay. And hello? Yep. My name is Alan Cook. Live at 1012 Pendleton Street. I've been in Radford over 30 years, rented, own a home, and I just wanted to bring this up. I'm retired, and I was looking at property tax on the homes, especially now that the property tax went up. And so I was looking for the senior tax relief program. And so I went and did a little research. I went to Montgomery, Pulaski, and us. And I made a copy of everybody, but I have it to hand out to you, to each one of you.
Okay. Do you want to give those to Melissa, or do you want us to have them while you're speaking? Okay.
This is for you.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
So I don't know when this assessment for Radford was made, but it seems to be a little bit out of date. The total income can only be $24,000, okay? And if you're retired, I mean, that's not a lot to live on to begin with, but, you know, Pulaski is 30 and Montgomery County is 70,000. So, of course, they're a wealthy county, and I know we have money issues here in Radford. And so I think that should be raised to 36 or 48 income, but you can take that under consideration. And the total assets is 70,000 for Radford. It's 30,000, 55 in Pulaski, but it excludes the dwelling and up to 3 acres of land. Now in Radford, you exclude 1 acre, but anything over the home worth 180,000 is an asset. I think we should not include the home because 180,000, you know, with COVID and the prices skyrocketing and the property of land, I don't know when this was made, and I couldn't really get an answer. So, but if you look at Montgomery County, they're 205,000, and it excludes a home in 1 acre. So I think that should be looked into and made more realistic. And basically, that's the gist of my request. So I thought I'd bring it up before the council and have you guys look at it. And I started looking into it myself, and I think compared to our neighboring counties, it's, you know, I mean, to qualify for this, you basically have to make no money, you know, and the home is 180, so I guess that's my 3 minutes. Thank you, sir. Okay, all right.
Thank you very much. Just a couple notes on that. I believe it was about 18 years ago that the council adopted the tax relief program. We had a working group of council that was led by former Councilman Rob Gropeman to look into it about 6 years ago. I do think it's worth looking into again, and especially with all the inflation we've experienced. So probably after the election, after we have a new Commissioner of Revenue, whomever wins, and a new treasurer, that'll be a time for us to revisit that and to have a working group take a look at it again. But thank you so much for bringing that to our attention. We are aware that those numbers were pretty low. I think, like I said, they were established nearly 2 decades ago. Not that it was that much money then, but that was the threshold that was established. Does anybody else have anything they want to add to that?
Just thank you for taking the time to bring us this research, and I would agree. I think it's something that we do need to look into. Inflation has certainly played a factor, and appreciate you taking the time to do this, so thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Nobody's brought it up, but I can follow up in an email so you have my name. And
Fantastic. That'd be wonderful. Thank you. Does anybody else have any citizen comments for the public record? Seeing no one make a mad dash for the podium, we will close that portion of the meeting and move forward. We do have a proclamation this evening. I will begin by saying, unfortunately, the members of the Scaretti family who are going to join us this evening were unable to come out, but we're going to make sure that we do something special to get this to them. The Radford Theater, a mainstay on the East Main Street downtown district, is turning 90 on November 28th. And we wanted to celebrate that. So, City of Radford proclamation, Radford Theater 90th anniversary. Whereas the Radford Theater first opened its doors on November 28, 1935, originally operated by the Star Amusement Company Incorporated, and has since served as a beloved cornerstone of entertainment, culture, and community life in the city of Radford for 90 years. And whereas in February 1949, a balcony was added to the theater, increasing its seating capacity from 525 seats to 704 seats, expanding its ability to welcome even more patrons to enjoy the magic of cinema together during the mid-20th century. And whereas the theater underwent a restoration in 2013 with the enhancement of lobby, restrooms, and installation of a digital projection system to better serve patrons in the 21st century. And whereas the Radford Theater holds the distinction of being the oldest and longest-running single-screen movie theater in the Commonwealth of Virginia that still shows first-run movies, a remarkable achievement that highlights its enduring legacy and commitment to providing current as well as classic film experiences to the community. And whereas, while many historic theaters have converted to multi-screen or second-run venues, the Radford Theater has remained steadfast in its tradition as a single-screen first-run cinema, maintaining its original charm while embracing modern amenities such as digital projection and sound, ensuring that audiences enjoy both the nostalgia of classic movie experiences and the quality of contemporary technology. And whereas the Radford Theater's continuous operation since 1935 makes it a living landmark and a cultural treasure, its bright marquee a familiar beacon for residents and visitors alike, representing the heart of downtown Radford and the enduring spirit of small-town America. And whereas for generations, the theater has been a place where families have gathered, friends have celebrated, and movie lovers of all ages have been inspired, contributing immeasurably to the civic pride, economic vitality, and shared identity of our city. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of Radford, Virginia does hereby proclaim November 2025 as the Radford Theater 90th Anniversary Celebration Month in the city and encourages all residents to join in celebrating the Radford Theater's extraordinary history, cultural significance, and continued role as a cherished gathering place for our community. Council, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt this resolution. Do we have a motion? Or do we have a second? A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. All right. Thank you all very much. Go visit the Radford Theater. Check them out. I will say this. It has been such a beacon on Main Streets where I saw my first movie a little while ago, a few years back. But also the Radford and the Radford VA logo. When we were working with the designer, she took inspiration from that Radford marquee for the shape and the style of the letters. So it really tied in that local component to our new city logo we developed a few years ago. So all kinds of fun. And we'll make sure that they get that and that we work with them to help their celebration throughout the coming year. Okay, Council, we need to move on to some unfinished business. Previously, we've had a request from New River Community Action. They've submitted a request to rezone property known as 212 3rd Avenue, tax map. I'm not going to get into all of that. 212 3rd Avenue. The request is to rezone it from B3 Central Business District to R4 Multifamily. And the tax map that is adjacent and part of this is currently zoned to R4 multifamily. Now, we had a joint public hearing with the Planning Commission on September 22nd. There was a lot of comment, both for and against this proposal. Planning Commission also met at their October 20th, 2025 meeting, and with a 6-0 vote, Planning Commission does not recommend the City Council approve the rezoning request. Seth, you're our representative. Do you have anything you'd like to share based on that?
Sure. I think that the meeting, pretty much the sentiment of the Planning Commission was, while we all support this program and the work that is being done in this community, it is a strategic business location that we have really spent a lot of effort trying to funnel businesses in there, and we really like to preserve the lower level for business. So again, we really appreciate the work that they do, but Planning Commission did not feel that it was advisable to set the precedent of the rezoning used to have that on the floor level, and that was a 6-0 vote.
Okay.
That's all.
Thank you very much. At this time, we do need to consider whether or not to accept the Planning Commission's recommendation or to change that. Do we have a motion to accept the recommendation of the Planning Commission?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? The only discussion I'll add to it myself is I am fully in support of this project. However, I do understand some of the comments of the Planning Commission that it doesn't follow our comprehensive plan and that there were some concerns among some that it wasn't the right location. I'll have more to say about that later in the meeting when we have individual comments. But I do appreciate community action working to put this program together. Okay, council, is there any other discussion? All in favor of the motion, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. So with that, the ordinance does not pass. We accept the recommendation of the Planning Commission, and we'll move forward from there. Council, under other unfinished business, we do have our fire truck lease purchase resolution and the lease agreement. Are there any questions regarding that?
Todd, once this is approved, is that when you'll be able to give us the final interest rate on that?
Yes, so we thought we would have it today.
Okay, okay.
But yes, we should have that in 3 days.
Yeah. And just for, because, you know, we had initially anticipated that it was going to be a 4.5%. Could you tell us how we jumped to there in case there's any question?
Yeah, we were told by Freedom Financing that the increase in the interest rate was due to the credit rating.
Okay. And we're stuck by that. There's nothing we can really do. Our hands are tied on that. Okay, thank you.
Any other comment or question? Well, we want to talk about this just a little bit, why we're doing this in the first place and what we could do and what we're trying to do. So council has been working with this cash flow issue for quite some time, and we've been trying to figure out a way to preserve cash where we can as we make additional changes throughout the city by reducing budget, by increasing revenues, by trying to shift things around. It has been a very difficult effort, and every member of council, member of staff, has worked to try to make this happen. We identified this as a way to continue to preserve cash rather than pay cash for the project, and that's the only reason we're looking at a lease as opposed to paying cash straight out. That allows cash to still be available to do projects as needed. So Todd, do I read that correctly? Is that an accurate statement?
That is correct. We're trying to preserve cash flows for other eligible expenditures.
Okay.
Yes.
And so with that in mind, council, what's your all's pleasure? Do we have a motion to approve the resolution and the lease agreement?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Melissa, would you call the roll on that one for us, please?
Mrs. Artrip? Yes. Mrs. Foster? Yes. Mr. Gillespie? Yes. Mr. Wolford?
Yes.
Mayor Horton?
Yes. Okay, thank you very much. And we will get back with you when we know the interest rate and what the cost will be. We'll get back to you. Just a note on that, you know, this is the situation where we are today. And we feel like it's very important for us to be supportive of our fire and EMS team. Our first responders mean a tremendous amount to this community and to all of us that sit here. We want to make sure you have safe and operable equipment, and we're working toward that. It also doesn't mean that we have to follow the lease the entire time we're together. We can choose to pay cash if that becomes a feasible option at some point during this process. It's a decision we're making to get us through challenging times right now. But we want you to know we do appreciate all the work of the women and men of the Radford City Fire and EMS Department, and that we want to make sure you have the equipment you need to do the jobs that we ask of you. So we thank you very much. Council, moving on to new business, we do have some boards and commissions. We have a vacancy on the Building Code Board of Appeals. Mike Niebel, who's a longtime architect in the New River Valley, has submitted his bio. He has some really interesting work experience where he has worked with a number of businesses. He's worked on significant projects throughout the city and around the New River Valley. So I think he is certainly a very qualified candidate. Do we have anybody else that we want to consider for the vacancy on the Building Code of Appeals? Do we have a motion to appoint Mr. Niebel to this role?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And the Radford Recreation Department has a vacant senior liaison spot on the Rec Commission. Seth and I were talking a little bit earlier, and it looks like we may be bringing a name forward at our November meeting and moving forward with that. And we'll keep you posted on that one as we go down that line. Okay, we have 3 appropriation ordinances coming up here. The first is for the Victim Witness Grant, Appropriation Ordinance 1802.31 in the amount of $129,410. If you have been to council meetings in the last few years, you're extremely familiar with the work of the Victim Witness Program for the city and the region. They do tremendous work trying to help folks for Radford, Floyd, and all throughout our area for decades. The program strives to ensure the victims have the opportunity to make courts aware of the full impact of crime. Victims are treated fairly with dignity and respect, while maintaining their rights to privacy, to inform them of the victim's Bill of Rights, and most importantly, that the victims are heard at all critical stages of the criminal justice process. This grant has been one full-time position that works 40 hours a week in Radford City, and it also provides for a full-time position in Floyd County. So during fiscal year 2024, the Victim Witness Program served approximately 450 victims. The numbers are expected to be higher for the fiscal year 2025. And so, council, we need to consider, do we want to approve the grant in the amount of $129,410? Is there a motion to do so?
Do we? Well,
You can ask a question first, yeah,
okay, but that grant covers all of the expenses?
for those
Everything covered?
positions.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
If I can just add, and I apologize, this is actually for FY '25, so these funds have been expended.
Okay.
And it was, the AO was not brought forth to you during that fiscal year.
Okay.
So it's
Where it's a
going back.
Going
correct.
back to
At
do the
your November
paperwork.
10th, you will have
One for
FY
this year.
'26
Okay.
before you.
Okay. So there you go. So this is taking care of services already rendered. So I think it's definitely in our interest to go on and approve that. Council, do we have any other questions? Do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Having heard 4 affirmative votes, we can dispense with a second reading if so desired. Is there a motion to do so?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we have 2 upcoming appropriation ordinances for our police department. Ordinance 1815.14 in the amount of $86,589 is for Police Asset Forfeiture Fund, which with the Virginia Code Section 19.2-386.22, all money and property used in substantial connection with the manufacture, sale, or distribution of an illegal narcotic can be seized by a law enforcement agency. Before the seized assets are awarded to the agency, a court process takes place where the defendant can challenge the legality of the seizure. All money seized pursuant to the Virginia Code is controlled by the Virginia Department of Criminal Justice Forfeiture Asset Sharing Program. Easy for me to say. Mandatory reporting and limitations on the use of these funds is defined in code. The Radford City Police Department plans to utilize some of the funds for furthering investigations, training, and career development for officers, and equipment and community education. So, council, we have $86,589 that are part of this appropriation. There is no match as far as we're aware. Correct, Todd?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay. All right. Are there any questions, or do we have a motion to proceed with AO 1815.14?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Having heard 4 affirmative votes, we can dispense with a second reading if so desired. Is there a motion we do so?
So,
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
second?
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And then we also have Appropriation Ordinance 1815.15 in the amount of $1,324 for the Police Department Calendar Partnership Program. This is a way to appropriate funds they received through a community donation. The funds were generated from the distribution of magnetic calendars in partnership with local businesses and community supporters. Council, do we have a motion to approve 1815.15 in the amount of $1,324?
So
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Having heard 4 affirmative votes, we can dispense with a second reading if so desired. Is there a motion we do so?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Todd, what do you have for us this evening?
So I'll be brief this evening. I just have one comment. Wanted to let everyone know that the Munis upgrade to version 2024 is complete, and we have had no issues with it so far. And we've been 12 days on the new version, so.
Great. Knock on wood.
And that is a prerequisite to making the entire conversion over to Munis with the.
Do we have any timeline on the rest of the conversion?
We are pressing Munis for an updated project schedule. The last time we spoke to them verbally, they said that they expected it to be December, January timeframe when we can get fully converted.
Thank you. I will say it's disappointing because December is not a good time for us to do it, so I'm guessing that means it has to be January because of the tax collection.
I agree. Yes.
So, all right. For those of you wondering, this has been going on for years and years. Every year that Jesse and I have been on council, every year that everybody else here has been on council, and for years and years and years, maybe even a decade before that. So hopefully we are near the end of this finish line because there have been 2 different systems in the city that basically help us understand where we are with our finances. That is a tremendous challenge for us, and trying to get everybody on the same system is one of the gateways to helping us understand more about where we are and where we're going. And so that's an important piece. Do you have anything else for us, Todd? Okay. Kelly, what do you have for us this evening?
I don't have a whole lot. I'm glad to hear that's moving forward. I had a joint commission meeting. I got to meet Derek Neal, who's the new CEO. Talked a little bit about, sorry, we talked a little bit about doing some retail strategy to see what's going to go good downtown, what's going to work, what do people want. So we talked a little bit about that. We talked about the possibility of getting a grant from the ARC and just, you know, how a study could help, and RU seems very on board to support that and help us make that happen. We also talked about the downtown revitalization project and how we were needing to scale that back for various reasons. And some representatives from RU were talking about, you know, what could they do to help, you know, monies in kind or a letter of support or something like that to make sure that we meet the money that we need so we don't lose that extra money. So that was something that was on their radar that they talked about, and we're excited to help. And there was a report that said they're ahead by 30% in applications from last year at this time, so that's really good. So making sure that their numbers go up helps us definitely, you know, bring in revenue to the city. And I hope everybody has a really good Halloween and safe. I hope it dries up. Thank you to everybody that's working the downtown trick-or-treat trail on the 30th from 4 to 6.
Yep.
I will be down there, rain or shine, so hopefully everybody stays safe and watches out for cars, because I don't think we're shutting down the road. And that's all I have.
All right. Thank you very much. Guy, what do you have for us this evening?
Oh, well, just one thing. I attended, I guess, an expansion ribbon cutting for Mountain Mutts this afternoon. They've got a nice, larger space now that they'll be using for grooming their animals, and I would ask people to go by and visit them and take a look at their place at 1201 West Main Street.
They do a really good job. Our 220-pound big boy goes there and gets groomed, and he gets
Okay.
treated very well.
Yeah.
Nice big space to take care of them.
Nice big dogs, yeah.
I know a second that needs it, so that's good to know.
That's all.
All right. Thanks, guys. Seth, what do you have?
I'll just be brief. I had several meetings with Planning Commission, the Rec Commission, New River Resource Authority. Lots of good things happening on all of these boards. I know with the Planning Commission, we're getting closer and closer to wrapping up our zoning rewrite. So thank you, Melissa, for all your help with that. We're getting closer and closer. At the Rec Commission, we have several good projects that we're hoping to bring forth in the coming months. Other than that, I do thank the citizens for their comments today, and I think those are both two things that we can certainly look into and hopefully provide some answers and do some research, and appreciate both of you guys coming forward with that. I'll echo I'm glad we were able to recognize Radford Theater. It is a hallmark and a true treasure in Radford, and its legacy lives on, so I'm glad to see that and glad we were able to recognize them. As well as Halloween downtown, it's 4 to 6, correct? And the city will have a showing there, and so they can stop by and get some candy, and it's always a good event, so I appreciate all the effort that went into to getting that. And then, you know, a lot of it doesn't meet the surface level, but there's a lot of hard work going on. There's a lot of things to do and to get us to a better place, and those things are happening. So Todd, thank you for spearheading that, and there's a lot of work to be done, but we'll do it. So thank you, sir. That's all I got.
Thank you. Jesse, what do you have?
Just to update everyone in regards to the Heritage Foundation, they are very, very busy looking at holiday activities for our citizens, so expect a full docket from them. We've had meetings with the Department of Social Services, as you know, with the federal budget on hold. That's impacting the SNAP program, which is food, and also it's going to be impacting our employees there. We have another emergency meeting this week. Todd was in attendance. Hopefully this can be resolved before we have to come up with a plan B, C, or D. I attended the New River Community College Scholarship Dinner, and that was a lot of fun, especially because at our table, we were able to sit with some students who are benefiting from the program. And it just reminds me and all of us truly why that program is so beneficial to our community. And I wasn't sure if we had mentioned about touring the high school and the middle school, but Seth and I did get out to do that, and we have the elementary school coming up next. I also met with Charlie with our Parks and Rec department to observe some trees that are impeding lights at one of our fields, so that seems to be an ongoing conversation. A lot longer than even I anticipated, but hopefully we're getting close to a resolution on that. I did go to the senior center today at the rec center, actually inquiring about some activities for my own mother, and I just wanted to let you guys know some of the things that they're doing for our seniors. They are really knocking it out of the ballpark. They have information on the art of avoiding banking phone scams. There's the Triad, which is reducing crime against the elderly. That's with the Sheriff's Department, and so Sheriff Armentrout has really spearheaded that, and our police department is also involved. They're having a wellness fair. They have watercolor classes, quilting, card games, scrapbooking, a friendship cafe, self-defense classes, how to cope with COPD. I mean, basically, that's just 1 month, and I just went and kind of highlighted some of the things that I thought would be of interest. But I implore you, if you are a senior or have a senior in the community that you think would be of benefit to these activities, please sign up. Some of them are free of charge, some have a very nominal charge. And I think just to briefly touch on the rezoning, I have been very transparent. This is an issue that's very close to my heart, being homeless at several points growing up myself, and I think that the intent of the housing is a good one. I think the location was less than desirable, so it would be nice if we could take that same philosophy and that grant and perhaps move it elsewhere in the community. That community area already is representing a lot of different community members and some with varying degrees of need. So my vote against it is in no way a reflection of my believing that there's a need or that that program is not beneficial. It is. I just think that location was not ideal. The other thing that I have to bring up that's been nagging at me is I really feel like at this point, council needs to consider a full audit. I feel like we're in a mode of reaction, and we have to keep pivoting opposed to getting ahead of it and planning. And I'm saying that not because I believe that there's nefarious things going on. I just think that there's a lot of moving parts, and there's been changes in positions that have left us a little bit in a void of information. So I know that our only reluctance has been that there is a cost associated, and it's a time that we're really trying to monitor costs. But I also feel like it's very hard for us to monitor costs when we keep getting kind of sideswiped by other miscellaneous things that we didn't know were coming at us. And also, quite frankly, selfishly, I feel like that this council deserves it, because I think there are several people in the community that have questioned our personal integrity. I can assure you, I do not have an offshore account anywhere, and I feel pretty strongly that neither do any of my other council members. But I feel like for all those reasons, that at this point, I would like council to consider it. As much as I hate to take on the financial burden, I feel like the community wants answers. I think they're deserving of answers. I think we're deserving of answers.
I know we've talked about it time and time again, and I think I support it. I do. I think that a level of trust has been lost, and this would go a long way to repair that, and, what's there is there.
And I think
agree.
it'll help us plan. I feel like we need to know how to pivot, and I feel like, again, we're in a reactionary mode, which is not the best for our long-term plan.
To that point, I actually did send an email to Brown Edwards to see if they, it's an auditor that I've worked with for many years, and one that we mentioned in a meeting prior, to see if I could get a contact for the city, just to check and see what they offer, prices and things like that, just to get the door open for discussion, so.
Thank you.
Well, that is all I have for tonight.
All right. Well, thank you for that. I'll just add my thoughts to that. I think it may make sense for us to do an audit. What I'm really working with, Todd is working to try to get things moving forward, and I want to hear a recommendation from staff once they've gotten things put together a little bit more, because I think that's been a big part of this, trying to figure out where we are and where we go. I think an audit could be a good tool. I'm not sure what tool we need and where it needs to go and when the timing on that makes sense, because we're in the middle of our annual audit right now too, and so there's a whole lot happening. So whatever ends up making the most sense. I think it's been tough because it's felt a lot like hurry up and wait with a lot of these things as we've gone through a process with an interim manager, a new city manager, looking at all the financial piece and trying to figure that out. I think we're close to that, and in the next few months, we'll have more answers and be in a better position to understand the whole thing more fully and know where we need to go and what we need to do. But I think there's a lot of tools that could be available to us that could help us get there. So, more to come. That's all I can say is we'll know more in the coming weeks as we move forward.
So just, like, what exactly are we going to wait on? Because I feel like,
I think staff at this point, because changes are happening, and
I
to
almost feel like,
understand.
though, those staff members deserve to know what's going on too, and not to
Sure.
have to be, in the dark, and also be in the position of reaction. And I feel like unless we really provide them with the skill set they need and the information they deserve, that we are doing a disservice to them and our community at this point. This was not an easy request, because I do understand the financial implications, but I also feel like to get us in the best possible position, I really don't want to see a lot of delay on this. I think the way to get the answers that we're needing is by initiating this, and to get a more comprehensive viewpoint than even our yearly audit. We need a full city audit.
Todd, what's your preference on this, on how we move forward?
If we want to move forward with it, we'll need to procure for auditing services. That may take a while. I can start to draft that process, bring it back to you, and get a motion from you at the November meeting to move forward.
I think any current and future staff too will appreciate having a clean slate to work with. This is up to this, and then here we are. I mean, I think that that's going to be a real tool for them to be able to, maybe specifically for me, practices and procedures are not, in my opinion, what they need to be. And I think that this audit could help highlight some of these things and come up with a plan. So, and I think working conjunctively with your staff and who's on your team to really coordinate that could be really useful. And it doesn't happen overnight. So to Jesse's point, getting that ball rolling sooner rather than later is important.
And if I may just, I know I said I was done, but another quick note, since we're talking about policies and procedures, and I know that we have a lot of people taking on a lot of different roles right now, but, you know, like, I feel a little uncomfortable when we're approving grants in arrears. Like, I want to make sure that we get ahead of that, and I know that that's well before you in that position, so this is in no way casting stones at anyone, because I think we all know that we were in pivot points, but I'm not terribly comfortable with doing that in arrears. I would like to get on, you know, on top of these things and in front of them so we know what we're looking at, because that one did have a slight city contribution. So that's all I have.
Was that just an oversight that it didn't come to us, or?
From my understanding, yes.
Okay, all right. I agree that we need to make sure we're approving it before we spend money, for sure. Moving forward, I think there's going to be a lot more information over the next months, weeks. I know that's hard. It's hard for all of us because it's felt like we've been ready to make choices and decisions for quite some time. I think I would just caution everybody to work with our professional staff that we've tasked with these things and to allow them to provide plans for us to get what we need to get and where we need to go, so that we're not handcuffing anybody with anything and going from there. But having said that, I did want to mention just a few things. We have a wonderful program that Radford City Schools is working on with the Pulaski County School System. It's a bridge to success where students are having the opportunity to tour a lot of local manufacturing businesses and have an opportunity to see how things are done, job opportunities, potential training and things right here in Radford in the New River Valley. A few weeks ago, they visited Cole Morgan on Rock Road, had an incredible tour, and had an opportunity to see the wonderful motion control motors and other devices that are made at that facility for all over the world and really all over the solar system for that matter. But then this past Friday, they visited both Tech Lab and Oronzi. I did want to specifically point out Oronzi because for the last 4 years since we started working on bringing Oronzi to Radford, the hope had been to produce their air filters here instead of overseas. And that was a heavy lift for them to be able to reshore that production. And they've been working very diligently to do so. They developed a whole new system. They've built incredible motors that are built right here in the city of Radford. They have some formed items out of plastic that are made in Greensboro and some additional circuit boards that are produced in Rock Hill, South Carolina. So it's really cool that our region has this production capability for these high-tech devices that historically, at least for the last 30 or 40 years at the very least, have been made overseas simply because there weren't places to do them here affordably. After the tour, I was able to actually purchase one of the air filter units that was made while we were on the tour there, that we got to observe them winding the motors and putting everything together, soldering everything, and final manufacturing. I would encourage everyone to take a look at what this company does and consider making a purchase. It helps the city, it helps the employees, it helps the organization, and it helps us grow Made in Radford, Virginia. That is a really cool thing. We have about 1,000 people that work in manufacturing in the city every day, and I think growing that is a good part of our future. Not necessarily looking back at some of our historic manufacturing, but this is 21st century advanced manufacturing. One of the neatest part of the tours were us seeing the coming products, things that they're doing to build out for the future that are currently not available in the United States, and for us to move forward with wonderful new opportunities here in Radford. So I'll leave it at that. We're going to ask Oronzi to come visit us and give us a little presentation sometime in the next few months and to share with you what they're doing as well as some of our other businesses, and we'll move forward from there. Don't forget Trick or Treat Trail this coming Thursday, 4 to 6 p.m. downtown. Come on down even if you're not planning to get candy. It is a great day to go in and see our businesses, to talk with them a little bit. They're expecting a lot of folks, and even if it's a little bit rainy, come on out and check it out. And with that, we will consider a motion to adjourn. Do we have a motion? Second. All right. All in favor, say good night. Good night.